In today's video, I'm going to bring you through a company that does over 36.5K every single day. Let me just refresh so you know this is real. And this is not some sort of case study or anything. It's just for you to understand exactly what type of caliber of clients we're typically used to working with. And so you know that I'm also qualified to speak about this topic. We typically work with 8 and 7-figure companies. And so in today's video, I'm going to bring you through the exact same creative research process that allows us to increase our chances of finding that best winning ad and ultimately replicating that process multiple times throughout every single month so that we find winning ads continuously, not just once, right, but continuously every single week, if not every single month. Okay, so without rambling too much, let me just get right into it and get straight to the point. So a step-by-step creative research process that scales ecom brands to $36,000 every single day in sales. The single most important action step that differentiates, and I can assure you this is a differentiating factor between a 7-figure brand and an 8-figure brand. And I know that research in some cases may sound like something that is a bit boring, but this process is actually really important to continuously find winning ads. Really important, as I said in the intro part of this video. So before we get in, let's dissect. Before putting all of your resources, okay, this is one thing that you need to understand. Before putting all of your resources into generating creatives, the number one step is to first understand everything there is to know about your ideal customer. How do they think? What do they want? What are they complaining about? What motivates them to buy? What are they skeptical about in the first place? And what do they dislike or like about your specific product, or maybe based on your competitors if they're selling a similar product or or the same product? So you need to go ahead and analyze, pull down curtains, and take it 3 steps back and understand exactly their desires and their buying motivations. I know that this is a bit cringe, but this is how 8-figure brands scale. I hate to break it to you, and I can assure you that maybe you're rolling your eyes, but I can definitely assure you that you're not doing it, or you're not doing the research as you should, okay? So let me first dissect how we present this research to the team. And then I'm also going to show you the individual research documents that we use so that you can replicate them for your e-commerce brand. So first of all, once we understand the positives, the negatives, buying triggers, tonality, what tonality they use, frustrations, skepticism, what are they skeptical about, pain points, triggers, motivations, and I'm going to show you how we find these things. We put all of this research into several documents, which I'm going to share in just a second. Once we have these organized documents, we then share them with the creative team. Why is that important? Because the creative team are the people, right? I'm talking about creative strategists, editors, graphic designers, copywriters, CMOs, head of performances, right? These people are responsible to generate winning ads. And we don't want to burn them out. We want to give them the resources that they need to actually increase the chances of finding that next winning ad that's going to spend $1 million and make you 2 to 3, right? So that's what we want to aim for. We don't care about the ad to spend $1,000 with a 3x ROAS. We don't care about that. We want to scale and find big winners, okay? And so we want to feed our team and send them all the resources that is required for them to do diligent, efficient work. In fact, once we do that, efficiency typically goes up, okay, drastically, because they know exactly what they need to focus on because of the research. Profitable ads go up, increase. Production time decreases because we're giving them specific frameworks that they need to go ahead and replicate without being geniuses and inventing them from the spot, right? We're literally giving them frameworks that they need to replicate. So production time goes down because we're giving them the frameworks. And then the ad hit rate, probably one of the most important KPIs to track. If you're not tracking how many ads it takes you to find that winner, you're not doing it right, because that's what 8-figure brands do. They track every single ad hit rate on a week-to-week basis, on a month-to-month basis, on a yearly basis. So at the end of the year, they know exactly what their ad hit rate percentage is because they tracked it for the entire year. So this ad rate typically goes up once we provide all the resources to our creative team, right? And they're going to love you, by the way. Your creative team is going to love you because you're literally giving them all the resources on a silver platter, and all they need to do is take action. So once this happens, the hit rate, as I said before, is going to be the detrimental factor, probably let me just put it in as the biggest one, because all of this is possible, right? Is a byproduct. This is a byproduct of everything else on top, right? And so this is one of the most important aspects, because if it technically takes you less ads to find winners, then you can scale more aggressively. And so one other thing that is a big misconception is that the only thing that you need to do to scale to 8 figures or multiple 8 figures, let's just say 50 million a year, is just do more creatives. That is absolutely not true. You need to dissect what works, understand what works, and then you can start figuring out how to mass scale that creative production. So ad hit rate, let's talk about very quickly ad hit rate. Low ad hit rate looks something like this, which is maybe something that you're dealing with right now, where you essentially have maybe a 3% ad hit rate. You're testing 30 ads, and out of 30 ads, maybe just one is a scalable ad that spends maybe 50, 100, 200K a month, or not necessarily a month, maybe even in the lifetime, but is profitable, right? And then What we want to aspire to is essentially a process that looks a little bit more like this one, where we have a great ad hit rate that is more like 10, 13, 15, 20% at times. We have some clients that have a 20% ad hit rate, which is absolutely amazing, right? And so this is scalable and this is not scalable, right? So what we're looking to do is maybe out of 30 ads that we launch, maybe 3, 4, 5 are winners that are actually going to be scalable, profitable, and sustainable on the ad account. Really consistent ads. You know, the consistent ads that run for like at least 2, 3, 4 months or more, or sometimes even a year, and they're sticking in profit every single day, and they're stabilizing the account. This is what we want to aspire to. How do we get to this point? Let's dissect research. So why is research so important? Listen to me clearly, please. Do not leave. I know this is maybe a bit boring, but listen to me clearly. I have a lot to speak about over here, okay? So why is research so important? Research gives you the opportunity to understand your customer, which automatically forces you to launch better, scalable, and profitable ads, ultimately increasing your ad hit rate, which is what I said before. Why is the ad hit rate so important? The ad hit rate is so important because the higher the ad hit rate and the less creatives it takes you to find real scalable winning ads, which is what I said before. And the more winning ads you find and the more profitable revenue you generate and the more you can scale to that $1, $2, $3, $5 million, $10 million per month, whatever that number is for you, okay? So how are the top research, what are the top research pillars that we implement, right, to scale our clients or help them scale to like 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 days, okay? So we have a product market awareness research, okay? And by the way, these are like more boring, like one is more boring than the other, but one allows you to find the profitable ad more than the other. So literally stick until the end because this is where the sauce is. All of this is important, but you know, as I move on into this conversation, into this video, it's going to get more intriguing. So product market awareness research, I'm going to show you exactly what we're looking to do there in our documents so that you can replicate them for your own brand. But we're studying the product in a market and then we're starting the awareness that people have of that product in that market. So it's a bit kind of like a weird thing. I'll show you how we do it. Then customer mining, we have specific ways and tools that we use to really understand and mine all the reviews and then strategically come up with conclusions. This is really, really important. It helps us find and resonate with angles, right? And then direct competitor research, I'm going to show you how we do it because this is a detrimental aspect to actually understanding why ads work and how we can replicate them again, which is super important. And then we actually break down, we create a document that's like 30 pages long, I'll show you in just a second, where we literally break down winning ads, whether they're our own winning ads, because sometimes we actually, the owner of the brand, produces a winning ad, but they don't strategically, scientifically understand why that ad worked in the first place. And they're not able to reproduce that, right, in the long term, right? And so I'll show you exactly how we break down. Let's start with product market research, okay? Let me just open this up into another tab and let's just see what we have over here. So it starts with market research. We want the 5 W's: who, what, where, why, you know what they are. First of all, we want to dissect exactly who, so we understand what persona. Why is this important? Because this will also allow us to understand what type of ads we want to recreate. If we're targeting a 60-year-old woman, I can guarantee you that a super fast-paced, confusing video is not going to work. So we have to understand their persona, right? What do they want? What are their deep desires? There's 5 deep fears or desires. What fears do they have? What is their primary fear, their secondary fear? What desires do they have? This is really important. Like, we need to understand mutilation, extinctions, separation. What is all of this? The fear of rejection, loss of connection. What is the problem? Are they feeling less of a person? Are they feeling less insecure, right? For example, for anti-aging products, right? Losing a part of your own body. This is mutilation. Integrity of organs, loss of natural function, metaphorical loss of piece of ourselves, right? Insecurities, like all of this is, you know, we need to, I know that this is like very scientific and Freudy type of terminology, but we're literally trying to understand what are the fears of these people so that we can not essentially manipulate them, but at least address them to them so that they're, you know, because they're fear aware, right? And so desires, one other thing, is it pride, is it envy, is it lust, gluttony, sloth, wrath, greed? What is it? We need to understand exactly what their desires are, right? And then we can go ahead and dive deeper into, are there existing solutions? So this is part of the market research. What is the market already using? What has their experience been like? So we know exactly what the thousands of many ads and claims that your ideal customer has already seen on Facebook every single day. So maybe we can understand that and differentiate our angles to it so that they see something new. Like, what does the market like about this existing solution? What does the market dislike about this existing solution? Now, this is a template, right? But you can fill these gaps in by doing your own research, right? And then product research, initial product scrub. What is this? Yeah, you basically want to know more about your initial product, just some features and benefits, deep dive into the product, main advantages, disadvantages, main features, benefits, what are the issues. Of course, this is self-explanatory, and then this is where we start diving deeper into the awareness. Once we understand exactly what is the desires, what are the outcomes that people want, the fear, right? The market research. Once we understand exactly what the product is and what we want to, how we want to leverage it in front of people, then we can dissect and understand, what awareness do people have of this product? So this is, there's five stages of awareness: most aware, product aware, solution aware, problem aware, and then there's others. This is just a template. So there's also completely unaware, and then there's some another step which I forgot. Either way, what we're trying to do here is understand the types of avatar customers that we want to target so that we can come up with headlines and angles. Some people just promote to solution aware, but they are not promoting to problem aware. So they're only promoting to people that are already aware of other solutions, but they're not promoting to people that are just aware of the problem, right? So this makes you think, and you come up with different headlines, and it gives you like a good foundation for your future resources, okay? So this is kind of like a one time and forget thing that your creative strategist probably needs to do. Whoever is in charge of coming up with angles in marketing needs to probably do. Next thing is customer mining research. I have two types of things to show you over here. Super interesting. Let me just open this up and then also go back and open this other document up. Both are super valuable. So first of all, what do? The one thing that we try to do immediately is we try to go on like Amazon or like scrape reviews. We get them, we put them either into ChatGPT. We also use a tool called Copilot Shulex, which is basically specifically for Amazon, but it gives you a good understanding. You see a good breakdown of like pros, cons, reasons people buy based on percentage and based on topic. And so overall, you can then leverage ChatGPT to create something like this, where you have like positive features and benefits, areas for improvement, right? Buyer motivations and expectations based divided by ad concepts and angles. Use cases, right? What are the use cases? When do people buy this product? Customers' sentiment, what's good, what needs to be improved, and this literally tells you, right? For example, if like smooth and hydrated skin is like 43%, then you probably want to focus on this, right? And then what needs to be improved? It's the packaging issue. Is it because of itchy skin irritation? Maybe you want to address these pain points or what needs to be improved, and then so you can address it to the market so that they feel less sure about the purchase, right? There's so many ways that you can leverage this. Motivations and expectations, like purchase motivations. Is it because of skin concerns, anti-aging? Is it because of hydration, right? You get to learn exactly all of this based on what the research tells you, right? And then you can go ahead and find like who, when, where, use cases, and this is like a really good research. We also have another type of research which is a bit more graphical. Let me just put myself over here on the top, and basically what we do is that we scrape all these reviews, right? We have like all the reviews, all the ratings, and then we have like the review text so that we can read through them. I think it's also really cool to like really valuable to manually go through the reviews yourself, because you get to find your nuggets, right? And then is it a positive, is it a negative, and filter by category. Once we have this report, we can go ahead and kind of like build these graphical representations that tell us, okay, like 24% of these reviews are negative, 15% are neutral, and 60%, over 60% are positive. Now we want to understand why people are saying negative things about the product, right? We're literally dissecting everything. So positive, negatives, and this is basically an overall like summary of everything. And then we actually dive deeper into like the product benefits, the angles, right? The desires, the pain points, the main motivations, and also the beliefs. And all of this is based on the research. We literally on the customer mining. So we literally read the reviews, and we manually in some cases try to understand and come up with these pain points. This is super important. You absolutely need to do this. I cannot stress this enough. If you know exactly how the customer speaks, right? And also, before I dive deeper, go into Reddit, because sometimes in Reddit you can find you can see people in reviews that literally speak the truth. Because on the review sites, maybe people want to be a little bit more conservative, but on Reddit, people will just blast the truth. So part of this research can also be done on Reddit, and if we don't do it here, we always leverage Reddit to see and read through like the black hat market, which is all hidden, like all the hidden truths about niches, verticals, markets, and products, right? The reality, right? And so those are the most real ones. Next thing that I want to show you over here, right before we end this video, is the direct competitor research. This is by far one of the most important aspects that you can leverage. You want to understand exactly why your direct competitors are spending millions of dollars. So what you want to do is use tools like Atria. And once you're in Atria, I can show you in just a second. You can filter by longest running ads, by active ads, and then you want to dissect and put all of these things into a document. What are all of these things? They're winning scripts, they're winning ads, right? They're winning landing pages, right? They're winning ad angles. What are they mostly promoting, and what angles are they mostly promoting? Their persona analysis. Is it the homeowner? Is it the cozy connoisseur? Is it the busy mom, right? Understand what personas they're doing. This is why I love this tool so much, because it dissects everything so strategically. And then the ad distribution. So what percentage of images are they running? Is it 60%? Is it 30%? What is it? What about videos, right? Same thing with the funnel breakdown. You get to see all of the landing pages, right? And then what we can do overall, once we know all of this information, is that we can actually dissect our research and say, hey, this is the angles that we're going to use based on the research, and these are the creative concepts that we're going to launch based on the research, and here are the hooks that we want to focus on in the first 3 to 6 months based on the research. Okay, so this is all super methodical. Do this and use this tool that I like to use. Is called Acha. Okay, Space Goods is just a brand that I was researching, and you can literally go over landing pages, headlines, personas, ad angles, what I just showed you on the other freeform slide, okay? Now, next thing is winning ad breakdowns. If you understand exactly how to break down ads scientifically to a T, you will be a master at your craft. Why is this important? It's important, as I always say also in my other videos, because winning ads are winning ads in the first place because they have a super high retention rate. How do you get a person to retain and watch your entire video? You have many different hooks and scenes, specific scenes with B-rolls, scripts, whatever it is, imagery, that hooks people in and doesn't allow them to go away, or makes it impossible or super hard for them to leave from the video because the video is so well sequenced. We need to understand the sequence, right? So what we do over here is that we have we created this this frame, or this graphic that is dividing ad segment, right? Second by the frames, or frames by the second, B-roll required, the explanation of the B-roll, and the ad segment. So literally, we know everything about the ad, the first 3 seconds, second 3 to 5, 5 to 7. What are the images, and why do we want to dissect this by every 2 to 3 seconds? Once again, because that's the amount of time that it takes for someone to lose focus. It takes 3 to 5 seconds. Like, if I see something that I don't care about for like 5 seconds over here, I'm gonna just go on and move somewhere else and watch something else on the feed. So this is why we scientifically break things down. It's because it's that important. It's that, like, we need to micromanage this process so much because it's so scientific. This ad works for a reason. And once we have a high retention, right, what happens to our ad cost? It goes down because the CPN goes down. There's so many comments, shares, and likes, and Facebook likes that, right? And it gives you better cost per acquisition, which allows you to scale a lot more aggressively. All of the winning ads that our clients have like thousands of comments, and the CPM is cheap, and the cost per click is like $1, $1.2, and the ROAS is so consistent every single time. And so we want to do this for at least like 10 ads. And so we created this research document. Essentially, in this research document, we have an ads breakdown, which is scientific. We like to call it scientific ad breakdown. So the first thing that we do is that we identify, as you can see here, there's like a 30-page document, 35-page document. And so the first winning ad for them that we're funnel hacking is like a podcast style. And so we go after the framework. We understand the exact framework of the ad, the buying triggers, right? All of the buying triggers of the ad, right? And then we split it scene by scene. And we do this with like so many different ads. Like, all of this is like one ad, and then we have all the other ads and all the other ads and all the other ads, and we do that for like 10 to 15 different ads so that we can give this to the creative team. Once again, not to stress this enough, but this is so important. If you understand why winning ads are winning ads in the first place, you pretty much have the blueprint to go from like 5 million to like 15, 20, 50 million if you have the right resources. I can't stress this enough. This is what allows a company to go from 7 to 8 figures, is having more systems and processes in place for research, and to understand buying motivations, to understand buying triggers, and essentially give all of the systems and processes and research documents, infrastructure to the team, so that they, the creative team, so that they can actually deliver on this and give you and produce profitable ads. I hope this video was valuable. It was a bit more different than others. If you are a brand, and by the way, if you want a document that's really valuable for us that we use every single time to scale our clients, it looks something like this. It's called a demo command center. You can get it for free. But this is where we put all of our tracking. You saw this in previously. This is where we record all of our ad angles. This is where we record all of our creative concepts. Same with hooks. There's 600 hooks resources here if you want to use it. And then there's so many other sheets that we use for just tracking and also just tracking creative tests. Get the sheet. There's a link down below. And before I end the video, if you are a brand doing at least 100K a month, book a link. There's a link down below to book in a call if you want a free audit and explore, of course, the opportunity of working with us if you want us as your growth partner. Okay, click the link down below. See you on the call, and definitely see you on the next video.